Welcome to my channel. I never expected my life to split down the middle the way it did. On paper I am simple, tidy, predictable. I work in marketing for a boutique tech firm 3 floors up from a coffee shop that knows my order and a florist that knows my birthday. I file spreadsheets, make pitches and smile in meetings while thinking about fonts. Nobody there would ever guess I spend my nights practicing eyeliner strokes or learning how to walk in a particular pair of heels. To them, I am quiet, efficient, competent. At home, I am someone else entirely. My name is Erin, but when I stand in front of the mirror with the wrong light switched on and the wrong music playing, I answer to a softer name that lives only in my head. The first time I slid into one of my sister's blouses, I felt guilty and electric all at once. Guilt because I knew it felt like stealing, and electric because something in me woke up and came into focus. That small soft fabric changed how I held myself for the rest of the night. For years that night replayed itself in a dozen small variations until the secret became practice and the practice became ritual. This is not some crisis of identity wrapped in dramatic language. I do not wake up each morning and wish desperately to change my life. Crossdressing for me sits somewhere between experiment and confession. It is curiosity tested in private. It is an indulgence that gives me access to a version of myself that is all possibility and fewer expectations. By day, I craft messages that persuade clients to buy into a vision. By night, I craft an entirely different message to myself. Both lives ask for honesty between them, but neither gives it freely. Isabella knows some of what I am. She knows the edges, not the interior. She met me at a gallery opening and laughed at the same cheap joke I laughed at. She is sharp in ways that matter and soft in ways that hurt. Her work is in interior design, and she sees light and shadow the way some people see music. With her, everything feels simultaneously easier and more dangerous. She is the only person I let stand close enough to notice the small changes in my voice when I lie. I have told her pieces of my life in staged fragments, but never the full thing. There is an unspoken agreement between us about boundaries and about surprises. I keep my nights secret because I am afraid of how much I would risk losing if she understood the whole picture. Our apartment is a narrow slice of the city, their living room windows thin like pages. It smells of coffee often and sometimes of spice when Isabella experiments in the kitchen. The couch is the color of rain and the hallway light throws shadows that look like other doors. The mirror that matters most stands propped in my bedroom at an angle. It is battered at the corner, where once a careless roommate leaned too hard. Mirrors never lie, but they tell different versions of truth depending on who is looking. When I set a dressing table lamp beside it and place a wig box on the floor, the apartment changes. The living room becomes a stage and the hallway becomes a gulf I cannot cross without rehearsing 1,000 tiny deceptions. There is a rhythm to this life that calms me. I pick an outfit with the kind of care I use when selecting words for a headline. A skirt can be as deliberate as a sentence. I choose stockings not for their scandal, but for the way they cinch a quiet confidence into my step. Makeup is not mere paint, it is punctuation. A sweep of mascara changes the tone of my expression, the way an M dash changes the flow of a paragraph. When I first started, I fumbled with foundation and felt clumsy. Over time, my hands learned both the technique and the tenderness. There is a small ceremony to each item. The brush, the lipstick, the shoes laid out like a promise. But alongside the thrill is the fear. Fear is the slow current beneath everything else. Fear that a message will pop up on Isabella's phone while I kneel fixing a heel. Fear that a neighbor with a sharp view will come by unexpectedly and catch sight of the wig box in the hallway. Fear that I will be caught laughing at myself in the mirror and then have to explain why. Most of all, fear that this thing which makes me feel whole in private will make me incomprehensible in daylight. The secret sits like an extra person in the apartment, sometimes offering warmth and other times reminding me how fragile the whole arrangement is. Isabella and I have routines that sometimes look like intimacy and sometimes look like choreography. On Sundays we make tea and critique a design book page by page. On Thursdays we cook and pretend to be gourmets while making a mess. She knows how to read my small changes in appetite, my quiet silences, the way people who love each other learn a language without grammar. She is pragmatic, though not unromantic. She believes that honesty is a currency that must be protected. And that is why I keep my secret private, I do not want to bankrupt us with a single moment of reckless truth. There are other faces beyond her. My family calls on holidays and asks the obligatory questions about work and life. They live 3 hours away in a town that still remembers my school uniform and the boy I used to be. Friends from college have children and call with updates that run like newswire. No one has yet tipped the first tile of the small playing field I keep mine. The playing field is careful. It has rules. The most important is that I am allowed to crossdress only in the perimeter of my privacy. The moment that perimeter dissolves, everything changes. This story begins on a Wednesday night with a dress on the bed and a plan. My sister had come to visit earlier in the year and given me a look that was equal parts mischief and calculation. She said something I could not dismiss: "You deserve to be seen." It was a sentence thrown at me like an invitation or a warning, and I carried it inside like a live thing. My sister always liked meddling with people's settings. She sees the world as a stage and other people as props who just need a little repositioning. I never expected her to interfere with the most intimate part of my private ritual. But when she left behind a tiny seed in the form of a dress with a cut that made my pulse climb and my brain catalog the risk. That night the dress awaited like an unopened letter. The hallway light felt mean and bright. The apartment hummed as if it expected something. Isabella had told me she would be late working on a mock-up with a client. There was a small window of time enough to step across the border of my life and come back without being noticed. I told myself it would be harmless. I told myself I would simply admire the dress in the mirror, put on a little mascara, and fold the evening back into the mundane. But the apartment has a way of remembering how you first used a thing. Once I had slipped my arm into that dress and felt the fabric settle against my skin, my body recognized the habit and urged me further. So I stand at the edge of the threshold and listen to my breathing. The dress hangs on the bed like a promise, and the mirror waits. Isabella's keys jingle in her bag on the side table downstairs, because she always leaves them there when she works late. That small sound is a metronome for the rest of the night. Somewhere behind the ordinary cadence of our life there are the beginnings of a plan that neither of us could have predicted. This is where the story opens, where the ordinary life phrase and everything becomes charged. I do not know yet if I will be forgiven or admired or exposed. I only know that for once I will be the center of attention, and that everything I have hidden may collide with everything I have let the world see. The moment I closed my bedroom door behind me, the apartment shifted. It always happened this way. It was as though the air thickened, as though the walls leaned in, as though the silence expected something from me. My life has very few rituals, but this private performance, this quiet unveiling, had become one of them. I took the dress from the bed with both hands, holding it like something alive. My sister had taste, I'll give her that. Soft sapphire blue, the kind that steals the light instead of reflecting it. The fabric shimmered faintly, not glittery, just aware of itself. It scared me that she knew exactly the kind of dress that would undo me. It scared me even more that she might have known what she was doing when she left it behind. My fingers trembled, not because I was nervous about wearing it, but because of the thrill that always came right before I transformed. That first brush of fabric against my skin never failed to send electricity up my arms. It felt like stepping into an identity that had been waiting for me just out of sight. I slipped out of my usual clothes and stood in front of the mirror. There was always a moment of hesitation, a breath I had to take before everything changed. Naked like this, before the makeup, before the wig, before the dress, I looked like a blank page. I looked like someone who could go either way. Someone who could be caught. Someone who could be free. The duality scared me more than anything. I lifted the dress and stepped into it. The satin glided up my legs like cool water. When I pulled the zipper up the back, I felt the fabric close around my torso with a gentle firmness that made me exhale softly. It hugged me in places I usually ignored. It carved out curves where I usually hid. It told a version of me that felt truer than the one the world saw. I heard my heartbeat echo in my ears. Click. A floorboard creaked in the living room. I froze. The building is old, and the wood shifts, I told myself. Nothing more. But fear doesn't listen to reason. I waited, still, breath held, heart pounding, until the silence settled again. When nothing else followed, I exhaled shakily and turned back to the mirror. The dress fit better than any dress I ever owned. Better than any dress I ever admitted to wanting. My sister either guessed my measurements perfectly or she remembered me far better than I realized. As I stared at the reflection, a familiar rush washed over me. Part awe, part guilt, part desire. This was the part one liked too much. The part that sometimes frightened me with its intensity. I reached for the small makeup box I kept under the bed, hidden inside a plain storage container labeled Old Cables. No one ever opens a box labeled Old Cables. It is the perfect disguise. Inside it were the things that made me feel real, the foundation I'd painstakingly learned to blend, the mascara that gave my eyes the softness I could never achieve naturally, the lipstick that felt like a confession every time. My hands steadied the moment I picked up the brush. As the foundation melted into my skin, I could feel the shift begin. Every step of the process chipped away at Erin and revealed someone far more fragile, and far more fearless. The eyeliner wing took more focus. I leaned forward close enough that my breath fogged the mirror. The left wing came out sharp, the right one slightly arrogant, but they worked. They framed my eyes in a way that made my pulse climb. A soft pink lipstick. Nothing bold. Nothing loud. Just enough to make my reflection breathe differently. When I finally slipped the wig on, the soft dark curls my own hair never had, I felt the transformation lock into place. I closed my eyes when the hair brushed my shoulders. That sensation was always my undoing, the final step that tilted the world entirely into the version I craved. When I opened my eyes again, she was there. The girl I wasn't supposed to be. The girl my sister always claimed she could see in me since childhood. The girl Isabella had never met. My chest tightened. I looked good. Too good. Good enough to be recognized if anyone saw me. Good enough that if Isabella walked in right now, she might not even see Erin at all. The thought terrified me. And thrilled me. And terrified me for thrilling me. My hands instinctively smoothed the dress over my hips. I took a small step back from the mirror, then another. The heels waiting at the foot of the bed called to me like a dare. They were black, slender, and entirely too tall for comfort. Exactly my weakness. I picked them up and slipped them on one foot at a time. Standing in them shifted everything. My posture, my balance, my entire presence. My hips tilted, my stance narrowed, and suddenly the girl in the mirror didn't look like a costume. She looked like someone who belonged. Someone who should have always existed. I walked, slowly at first, then with growing confidence, across the room. Each click of the heel on the wooden floor felt like a declaration. But every declaration came with a risk. A sudden vibration broke the moment. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I nearly tripped on my own heel rushing toward it. My heart hammered so loudly I could feel it in my throat. I grabbed the phone. A message from Isabella. Isabella, mock-up done earlier than expected. Heading home soon. My mouth went dry. Minutes. I had minutes. The transformation that had felt heavenly now became a trap. Every stroke of makeup, every piece of clothing, every curl of the wig suddenly felt like evidence of a crime. I stood there in the mirror, stunning, exposed, trembling, and realized the night was no longer just about thrill. It was survival. And I wasn't sure which version of me would survive. Isabella's message kept glowing on my screen like a countdown timer. Heading home soon. Soon could mean anything. 10 minutes. 5. Or she might already be in the elevator, rising floor by floor while I stood here in a dress my sister chose. Breathing like I'd just sprinted a mile. In makeup I didn't have time to fix or remove, in heels that made every second feel louder. Panic tried to swallow me whole. I grabbed the makeup wipes from under the bed, my fingers slipping around the plastic pack. But the moment I tried to open it, another sound cut across the room. A soft, unmistakable metallic clink. My heart stopped. Keys. Her keys. Not jangling in her bag. Not miles away at the studio. Her keys. In our hallway. I froze, wipe halfway out of the packet, my reflection staring back at me with wide lips and terrified eyes. Please. No, 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 I whispered. The lock turned. My entire body jolted. I dove toward the bathroom, the only room with a real lock, heels clicking violently on the floor. The sound betrayed me, echoing through the apartment like alarms. "Aaron." Isabella called from the front door. Her voice. Her actual voice. Too close. Too early. I stumbled, nearly twisting an ankle, and caught myself against the wall. I reached the bathroom door, scrambled inside, slammed it shut, and turned the lock with trembling fingers. The dress snagged on the handle, nearly ripping. My breath came in high, sharp bursts. My chest rose and fell so fast I felt dizzy. "Aaron." She called again. Her footsteps were soft but approaching. "I thought you'd be out. Why are all the lights on?" I clamped a hand over my mouth, terrified she could somehow hear the shape of my breathing. The mirror across from me reflected a girl falling apart. Mascara. Lipstick. A dress too pretty to explain. A wig that revealed far too much if it slipped even an inch. I looked like a stranger living in my life. The door handle rattled. "Aaron? Are you in there?" My heart punched at my ribs. I forced my voice lower, rougher. "Yeah, just a shower." Shower. In heels? In a dress? With the wig itching against my scalp like a hot warning? Isabella paused. "Are you okay? You sound strange." I swallowed hard. "Fine. Just not dressed." A beat of silence. Then, "Aaron." I saw the bedroom light on. Every muscle in my body tightened. She saw the light on. She noticed everything. She always noticed everything. I pressed my back to the cold bathroom door, the wood vibrating faintly as she stepped closer on the other side. "Aaron," she said softly, "why is the floor covered in glitter?" Glitter? My stomach sank. The dress. The wig. My sister must have tucked some shimmer into the fabric, the subtle kind that catches on skin and floorboards. And Isabella, with her designer's eyes, would never miss something like that. I looked down. Oh God. There were flecks of blue shimmer stuck to my collarbone, my arms, the bathroom tiles, the hallway, everywhere I'd walked in panic. "Aaron. Who is here with you?" The question sliced through me. My breath stopped. She didn't think I was dressing up. She thought someone else was here. My voice broke. "No one." Then why is the bedroom door halfway open? Why is the mirror angled like someone used it? And why is there perfume in the air? Perfume. My setting spray. Sickly sweet and absolutely unmistakable. I pressed my forehead to the door. This was collapsing too fast. My mind raced, tripping over lies, over truths, over the hopeless space between them. "I'm coming out," Isabella said gently. "We'll talk." Panic jolted through me. "No. Don't, please don't come in." The handle moved. She was trying to open the door. I stumbled backward. "Stop." The word tore out of me too raw, too desperate to hide. Silence fell on the other side. "Aaron." Her voice softened, but it held an edge of fear. "What are you hiding from me?" I looked down at myself, at the dress hugging every line of me, at the wig slipping forward, at the makeup smearing under my eyes like guilt. And for a moment, I felt heartbreak, because I didn't know whether I feared being caught, or losing her. Another quiet knock on the door. Not forceful, just full of confusion. "Sweetheart," she whispered, "please talk to me. Whatever it is, just tell me." My throat closed. If I opened the door right now, she wouldn't see Aaron. She would see her. She would see everything. My secret. My shame. My longing. My sister's plan. The version of me I kept hidden so tightly I sometimes suffocated from the effort. I looked at my trembling hand. Then at the doorknob. One word echoed through my skull, rising louder and louder until it swallowed everything else. Run. But I had nowhere to run. The apartment was tiny, the windows locked, the front door blocked by Isabella. And the truth blocked by me. I felt hot tears prick my eyes. The mascara blurred. The mirror reflected a girl whose entire life hung by a thread thinner than the strap on her heel. "Aaron," Isabella said again, her voice trembling this time, "why are you crying?" Because the truth was standing on the other side of the door. Because my secret was on this side. Because I didn't know which one of us would break first. And then, loud, unexpected, impossible. Another knock came from the apartment's front door. Sudden. Heavy. Not Isabella's soft knocking. Someone else. In our home. Isabella gasped. Who? My blood turned to ice. Another knock. Harder. Aaron, Isabella whispered, someone's here. I grabbed the sink. Don't answer it. But it was too late. I heard her footsteps rush toward the living room. No, 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 no. My breath caught. The heels felt glued to the floor. My heart pounded so violently I thought I might faint. Another knock, this time followed by a voice. A voice I recognized. A voice that made my stomach drop and my vision swim. A voice I never expected to hear again in my life. Not tonight, not ever, and definitely not while I was dressed like this. Aaron? It's your sister. Open up now. My knees buckled. She was here. My sister. And Isabella was about to open the door. My entire double life was seconds away from shattering. In front of the two people who knew me best. And I had no way to stop it. The entire apartment felt like it had stopped breathing. I could hear everything from behind the bathroom door. The soft scrape of Isabella's footsteps as she reached the entryway, the hard, impatient knock from the other side, and then the unmistakable voice of the last person I expected tonight. My sister. Not texting. Not calling. Not warning. She had come here. And she sounded angry. Isabella? She asked sharply when the door opened. Where's Aaron? My stomach surged upward, as if everything inside me were trying to escape. My legs went numb. The wig prickled against my scalp. The dress clung to me like evidence I couldn't destroy. I don't know, Isabella stammered. I had never heard her voice like that, thin, confused, trembling. Something is going on, my sister continued. I could picture her stepping inside, scanning the floor, sharp eyes missing nothing. The lights, the glitter. Aaron's shoes are here. But he isn't. She paused. Then her voice dropped into something colder. Aaron is hiding something. The words sliced straight through the bathroom door, straight into my throat. I pressed my palm over my mouth to stop myself from making a sound. Please, Isabella said quietly, I don't understand what's happening. He shut himself in the bathroom and won't come out. He's acting strange. A tense silence. I imagined my sister's face tightening, her mind racing with conclusions she shouldn't be able to reach. Conclusions that would ruin me. Her footsteps drew closer. Toward the hallway. Toward me. He's in there? My sister asked, her voice low. Isabella swallowed audibly. Yes. The shadow of their feet passed under the door. I squeezed my eyes shut. Why would he lock himself inside? Isabella whispered. My sister exhaled harshly. He does this when he's overwhelmed. He hides. He shuts down. But this, her voice shook with something like guilt, this is different. Another silence. Then my sister lowered her voice even further. Aaron is keeping a secret from you. And I think I know what it is. My heart nearly stopped beating. No. No, 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 no. She couldn't tell her. Not like this. Not when I was trapped, dressed, exposed, cornered like prey. Isabella's voice cracked. What secret? My sister hesitated, and that hesitation felt more dangerous than anything she could say. I should talk to him first, she finally decided. And then, before I could even breathe, the bathroom doorknob turned. Not rattled. Not knocked. Turned. My sister tried to open it. Aaron, she said softly through the wood, please. Open the door. I backed away instinctively, heels scraping loud against the tile. I winced. Isabella heard it. She gasped. He's in there, she whispered, voice trembling. I heard him. Everything inside me crumbled. The truth wasn't going to stay hidden. Not the makeup. Not the dress. Not the girl in the mirror. And not the part of me I had buried since childhood, the part my sister had always seen and Isabella had never suspected. My sister spoke again, her voice firmer now. Aaron, if you don't open this door right now, I'm telling Isabella everything. My lungs collapsed. Isabella sucked in a sharp breath. Everything? What do you mean? What is he hiding? Silence. Then my sister said 3 words that made the whole world tilt sideways. I know why. Her hand pressed against the door. I know why you push people away. I know why you disappear into your room. I know why you've been so afraid to let anyone in, especially her. I felt a tear slide down my cheek. I didn't know if it came from fear or relief or pure devastation. My sister swallowed hard on the other side. I left that dress for you, she whispered. On purpose. Isabella gasped behind her. The floor spun. My stomach twisted. My sister continued, voice trembling now with something painful. I wanted you to finally stop hiding from yourself. I shook my head violently. No. Not like this. Not with Isabella standing right there. Not with me trapped in this dress, this makeup, this half-formed truth. Please, my sister whispered. Just open the door. You don't have to talk. You don't have to explain. Just, let us see you. Let us. Not me. Us. The 2 people who knew me best. Standing together. Waiting. And I stood on the other side, a girl wearing fear, a boy wearing shame, a person wearing a dress that felt too honest to deny. My knees shook violently. If I opened the door, everything would change. If I didn't, my sister might tell her anyway. And I would lose the one thing I wasn't ready to lose. Control. The silence thickened. The doorknob turned again, slowly this time. Deliberately. Aaron, Isabella whispered, voice breaking, please let me in. Her pain hit me harder than her anger ever could. Then, click. The lock slid. But not because they opened it. Because my shaking fingers, without permission, without thought, without courage or sense, unlocked the door. I heard both women inhale sharply. My hand hovered over the knob. The wig slid slightly down my forehead. Mascara streaked my cheeks. The dress shimmered faintly in the bathroom light. I was seconds away from being exposed completely. Seconds away from losing or saving everything. Seconds away from stepping into a future I wasn't ready to face. I took one trembling breath, placed my hand on the door, and began to turn it. The hinges creaked. The light spilled into the hallway. Both of them gasped, one in shock, one in recognition. Then, bang! A sudden crash echoed through the apartment. Violent, shattering, impossible. All 3 of us screamed. The door jerked in my hand. And everything went dark. End of part 1.